Hey everyone, welcome to A Deck Tech. Luis Scott Vargas here with Gerry Thompson, and we're going to take a look at your Deep-Fiend Saheel deck.
Yeah, it's a normal deck, right?
Yeah, so it's powered by cards we've seen in the past. We've got Aetherworks, Marvel, and Elder Deep-Fiend. So what does the interaction look like between these two cards?
It's favorable. So normally you see Aetherworks Marvel decks just playing the full 4. They're trying to do a lot of it. I just have 2, just kind of like a value card, and you get cast triggers off it. So you get to actually take full advantage of Elder Deep-Fiend.
Yeah, and so you have a lot of energy-producing cards in your deck, and then ways to chump, build up the Aetherworks Marvel, hit Elder Deep-Fiend, but you also have another combo in your deck. You've got, take a look at the next slide here, we've got Saheel Rai and Felidar Guardian.
Yeah, nice combo. Powerful Planeswalker, a lot of really cool tricks with the -2 in this deck, especially with Deep-Fiend. Like you don't get the cast trigger, but you do get to hit them for 5. So you get to do things like on your upkeep, tap all your lands or maybe tap all your blockers and then just hit them for 10 out of nowhere. So you get to win games like that. And then obviously Felidar Guardian, blinking Saheel Rai, you get to go infinite. And the Deep-Fiend just kind of sets you up for that too, because you tap them out of a removal spell or tap a Dynavolt Tower, Red Implement.
Right, so Elder Deep-Fiend is kind of ties these cards together, as well as these, of course, being an infinite combo by just blinking and +1ing.
Yep.
And then these are some of the ways to both generate energy and spend it.
Yeah, and sack the Deep-Fiend, which is nice. So Rogue Refiner and Whirler Virtuoso are both excellent, Rogue Refiner especially, and they have blue mana symbols, so that kind of like gives us basically free mana for Deep-Fiend. Like we're already playing the island, so we get to emerge it. Servant of the Conduit helps fix the mana too, because we're a 4-color deck. Mana's a little sketchy at times, you know. Also gives you extra energy for the Aetherworks Marvel and the creatures.
Right, so if you curve Virtuoso Refiner into Deep-Fiend, you've actually put a lot of power on the board, especially if you, like, say, make a Thopter or something along those lines.
Yep, exactly.
Take a look at what's next here. We've got some of your other energy generation spells, because you need to be able to use your Aetherworks Marvel, maybe use your Whirler Virtuoso.
Yeah, so sometimes you use the Marvel like twice, and then you kind of run out, but since you have these cards, you like the first time you cast Marvel on turn 4, it's usually active. Tune with Aether fixes your mana. Also just like powers up your Aether hubs later too. Harness Lightning is just reasonable removal spell. Sometimes you'll just target something, not use any energy just because you need the energy to use for something else.
Right. Take a look at what else you got here. You've got ways to cast your 4-color spells. Oath of Nissa actually fixes your mana in multiple ways.
Yeah, so you get to search up some dual lands, maybe cast a Saheel Rai off it.
Yeah, the extra text actually being very relevant in this deck, because when it normally is not all, it doesn't come up all that much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Aether Hub, which generates energy in a pinch, and then, of course, helps cast your other spells. A selection of duels, plus Evolving Wilds. Not every deck's playing Evolving Wilds these days.
Yeah, the Evolving Wilds have not been great, especially with the fast lands, I guess, is what we call them. I don't know. Because past turn 3, sometimes like a lot of your lands just enter the battlefield tapped, and it's tough to cast things like Aetherworks Marvel. So the mana just being 4-color, it is still kind of sketchy, which is why I have the Evolving Wilds. But
yeah, in the first couple turns, your Botanical Sanctum, Spire Bluff Canals, and Spire Adventures are great.
Yeah,
then, of course,
past that, a little worse.
You're trying to top deck your 4th land for Aetherworks Marvel. None of these lands help that.
Yeah, but I mean, they also just make it so your first 3 turns are so good.
Right. And then, of course, you've got some basic lands here. The Royal Sampler, you got 1 each of Island, Mountain, and Plains, and that's because you have ways to search them up?
Yeah, Tune with Aether and Evolving Wilds. There are certainly some games where I want the second island, but can only have so many slots in it.
And then a bunch of forests. Tell us a little bit about your sideboard. We don't have that up here, but you have a pretty cool sideboard plan as well.
So I have some Spell Quellers, some Negates, some Tamios, lets you side into like a Bant tempo deck in mirror matches, which I think is really powerful. Some Burl's Expertises, which are really good against the Black-Green Winding Constrictor deck. Basically get rid of like a 10-power Walking Ballista that might be stopping you from comboing. And then Kozilek's Return, which combo with Elder Deep-Fiends. That's really good against Mardu vehicles, and then some Natural States.
How often did you side into the tempo plan?
A decent amount, maybe more than I should, because it's a lot of fun. Like I like playing different games, and this deck allows you to do that. Like sometimes you're on the energy like creature beatdown plan, sometimes you're just like I have the combo, sometimes you're an Aetherworks Marvel deck, and sometimes you're just like playing this weird game where you're trying to Deep-Fiend to like tap them out so you can maybe combo them, right?
They're trying to sideboard to beat Saheel Rai, and you're just like Spell Queller into Elder Deep-Fiend or something along those lines.
Draw some cards, freeze your guys. So
cool. Thanks for taking a look at your deck, Gerry.
Yep.
Luis Scott Vargas for Gerry Thompson. That was A Deck Tech.